A billionaire's wife humiliates a single father in a room full of power and pride, but seconds later, everything begins to collapse. What she does not know is that the man she mocked holds a secret that can destroy their billion-dollar empire. As truth unfolds and hidden loyalties surface, one shocking revelation will change every life in that room forever. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you subscribe and press the bell icon so you never miss any of our powerful, life-changing stories. Stay with us till the end, because what happens in this journey of struggle, betrayal, and unexpected success will completely change the way you see strength, love, and true success in life. I still remember the sting of cheap wine soaking through my only clean shirt. My son stood behind me, his tiny fingers gripping my sleeve. As laughter echoed across the marble hall, she looked at me with polished cruelty, as if poverty was a disease. "Know your place," she said. And I did. Once. I was the man who skipped meals so my child could eat, who slept on cold floors while dreaming of warm futures. But that night, something inside me refused to bow. Her husband watched silently, their billion-dollar deal hanging in the air like a fragile thread. Then she laughed again, and I smiled, because I knew something she did not. The woman standing beside me, quiet, steady, unseen, held more power than their empire. She took my hand, her warmth grounding my storm. Years ago, she believed in a broken man. When the world turned away, she gave me courage when I had nothing but shame. And now, as silence swallowed the room, she stepped forward and spoke just one sentence. The room froze, faces changed, and in that moment, everything began to collapse. "The deal is cancelled," she said softly. Not loud, not angry, just certain. The air shifted. Her husband's smile cracked, like glass under pressure. "What do you mean?" he whispered. She did not look at him. She looked at me. The same eyes that once found me in a dark alley of failure. Hands trembling, hope fading. "I built the backbone of your empire," she continued, voice calm as still water. "Every contract, every risk, mine." A murmur spread, sharp, disbelieving. My son held my hand tighter, as if he felt the ground moving. I remembered nights of hunger, her quiet sacrifices, selling her dreams to fuel mine. "You poured wine on the wrong man," she said. Silence struck harder than thunder, because I was no longer invisible. I was the storm she had raised. And now, the billion-dollar empire was beginning to bleed. A glass slipped from someone's hand and shattered like their certainty. Her husband staggered back, numbers racing behind his eyes. "You are bluffing," he said, but his voice trembled. She exhaled slowly, as if releasing years of silence. "I transferred the patents this morning," she said. "Every asset tied to my name, gone. Gone." The word echoed, heavy, final. I felt my son look up at me, not with fear, but with wonder. For years, I taught him to endure. Tonight, he watched me rise. The room that once mocked me now avoided my eyes. Power had shifted. Quietly. Completely. She squeezed my hand, reminding me of who I was becoming. Not a victim. Not a beggar. A man rebuilt through fire and faith. Then security walked in. Not toward me, but toward them. And in that fragile moment, as everything they owned began to slip away, her husband said something that made her face change. "I knew who he was," he said. The words cut deeper than the wine ever could. Her fingers loosened from mine. Just slightly. What did you say? She asked. Calm, but breaking underneath. He stepped closer, desperation rising like smoke. I knew him from the beginning, he continued. Your little project, or charity case. The room leaned in, hungry for ruin. My chest tightened. Old wounds reopening. Charity. Was that what I was? A silence filled with years of doubt. Of nights I questioned my worth. She turned to me. Eyes searching. Afraid of what I might believe. But I remembered. Her hands. Cold from work. Still reaching for mine. Her voice. When I had nothing. You are not broken. You are becoming. I straightened. No, I said quietly. You did not make me. My voice grew stronger. We built each other. Her breath caught. But he laughed. Sharp and cruel. Then let me finish the truth, he said. And the way she froze. Told me. This was the part she never wanted me to hear. You were never meant to succeed, he said. Each word landed. Cold. Precise. She invested in you to prove a point. To me. To them. To herself. The room shifted again. But this time, it felt like the ground beneath me cracked. I looked at her. Not for answers. But for truth. Her silence trembled. Years of memories rushed in. Late nights. Shared hunger. Her quiet belief. Was it real? Or was I just a lesson? My son squeezed my hand, pulling me back from the edge. I knelt beside him, seeing myself in his eyes. No doubt. Only faith. I stood again. Stronger. Say it, I whispered to her. Not angry. Not broken. Ready. Her lips parted. But no sound came. Tears filled her eyes. Not of guilt. But of something deeper. Something I had never seen before. Then she stepped closer. Placed her hand over my heart. And finally spoke. Words that changed everything. I chose you, she said. Not for revenge. Not for pride. For truth. Her voice shook. But her gaze did not. Yes, it began as a bet, she admitted. A cruel argument I wanted to win. The room stirred. Judgment rising again. But I stayed, she continued. When winning stopped mattering. Her hand pressed harder against my chest, as if feeling every scar beneath. I saw a man who refused to break, even when life tried to bury him. My breath faltered. I saw a father, who gave love without having any left. Tears blurred my vision. But I did not look away. You became my reason. To believe in something real. Silence wrapped around us. Thick. Unforgiving. Her husband scoffed. But no one joined him. Because they could see it. This was no lie. This was something raw. And my son stepped closer to her. Hesitant. Hopeful. And she knelt, meeting his eyes. In that fragile moment, when past and present collided, the doors behind us burst open, and someone shouted my name. Mr. Khan, the voice echoed. Urgent. Breathless. All eyes turned. A man rushed in. Papers clutched like lifelines. Sweat tracing panic down his face. I have been looking everywhere for you, he said. For me. The room stilled again. I felt her hand tighten. Not in fear, but in quiet certainty. What is it? I asked. My voice no longer small. He swallowed hard. The board has approved it, he said. Unanimously. A ripple moved through the crowd. Approved. My past flashed before me. Every rejection, every door slammed shut, approved what someone demanded. The man turned, raising the documents. His acquisition, he announced. A shockwave of silence. I felt my son's grip, stronger than ever. Years of struggle, compressed into this single breath. I looked at her, the woman who saw me, before the world did. But her expression shifted. Not joy, not relief. Something else. Something unexpected. Because as the whispers grew louder, the man leaned closer to me and said quietly, "There is one condition." "There is one condition," he whispered. The world narrowed to that single breath. "You must take full control. Tonight. No partners. No shadows. No past chains. Only me." I looked at her, the woman who turned my ruins into robes. Her eyes did not beg. They believed. I nodded. "I accept." The room erupted. Some in shock. Some in silent respect. Her husband stepped back. His empire no longer his. Not taken by force, but lost through arrogance. I lifted my son into my arms, feeling the weight of every sacrifice finally turn into strength. "We're going home," I told him. But home was no longer a place. It was who we had become. I turned to her. "Walk with me," I said. Not as savior, not as debt, but as equal. She smiled through tears. And in that moment, I understood. Success is not built on wealth. It is built on belief, on standing when broken, on choosing love over pride. Because the world may test your worth, but only you decide your value. And sometimes, the greatest rise begins with being humiliated in a room that was never meant for you.